Comenzamos el bloque informativo en Extra News.
Attorney General Pam Bondi. Pam, welcome back. Good to have you back. All right, before we get to the guy, this is just breaking, this letter that you have signed and now apparently sent out. I know this has happened in our nation's capital, and I guess the police chief or the mayor or somebody there, you know, had been telling police officers, the Metropolitan Police Department there, not to give up people that are in the country illegally. I thought we had a supremacy clause in the Constitution.
Sean, D.C. will not remain a sanctuary city actively shielding criminal aliens. Will not happen. Under Donald Trump's directive, D.C. will become safe again, and it will become clean again. And I think what's happening is it's a combination of an extremely divisive city council. You have liberal judges, you have no cash bail, as you said, you have juveniles running rampant over this city, and you have a Metro Police Department, they want to do their jobs. And we have been out there for the last few nights with all of our federal agencies, Sean. They have been working so hard, working together. We've made 156 arrests, 27 firearms have been seized, child pornographic material has been seized, over 200 fentanyl pills taken off the street, a homicide suspect with a firearm, and we are going to protect D.C. and make it safe again. But, you know, I think the most impactful thing that's happened, despite what we've seen with these crazy protesters out there, citizens are coming out of their homes and they're going up to these law enforcement officers and they're thanking them for keeping them safe and making the streets safe again. An elderly woman walks up to law enforcement and thanks them so she can go to the market again. So they are seeing the impact of what our law enforcement officers are doing under Donald Trump's directive, and they're going to continue to do it. We're going to work hand in hand with state, federal, local officers, and we're going to make D.C. safe again.
Fundamentally, when you have a sanctuary city or a sanctuary state, aren't you, by definition, aiding and abetting in the law breaking? Mm-hmm. And if you are protecting them and not allowing, even though the federal government would have jurisdiction constitutionally, are you aiding and abetting? Are these politicians that are purposely hiding illegal immigrants or not informing or working with ICE, are they themselves guilty of crimes?
Well, and what they're trying to do, they're trying to protect criminal aliens. And what's going to happen if we keep this up? Criminals are going to flee to D.C., and we're not going to let that happen. And that's why, at my directive, we have made Terry Cole now the commissioner over the police. We have made Gaddy Serralto my U.S. Marshal. He runs the entire show, keeping everyone organized, and they report directly to me, and I report to the President of the United States. So yes, you must comply. You must give the information to our ICE, to our Homeland Security officers. If they have information of an illegal alien living in D.C., they must give us that information, and we are going to stop crime, Sean, in D.C., and we're going to clean it up in this country. And President Trump is committed to that. No longer is that going to happen in this beautiful city where our tourists come, where our residents live. We all live here. We are going to keep it safe. And it's our nation's capital. It's beautiful, and it's going to be beautiful and clean again.
Okay, let's focus and dial in. So D.C., sanctuary city, L.A., sanctuary city, San Francisco, sanctuary city, New York City, sanctuary city, California, sanctuary state. What does this mean in reality for all of these locations, municipalities, states moving forward?
They must comply. Yesterday, I sent out 33 letters to mayors around this country. I think 3 or 4 of them were in California alone, not surprising. I sent out letters to all of these mayors and to the governors saying, you must comply. We want to know what you're doing to comply with our federal government. So we're going to see. I'll let you know how they respond. They have 5 days to respond to me.
Okay, let me move on, and I want to ask you about this incident where the DOJ employee charged with felony assault after hitting this federal agent with this Subway sandwich. May not sound like a big threat. What a lot of people may not be thinking of, an agent being assaulted like that, they have no idea what is being hurled at them. And this is now going to be charged as a felony. What message is the Department of Justice now sending people that are attacking agents this way? And what do you say to the people that are tipping off illegal immigrants?
Well, we're coming after you. We've made that very clear. And that guy worked for the Department of Justice. Unbelievable. He came into our office every day, walked by law enforcement officers, worked in the criminal division. That's the deep state that we have been up against. Worked in our office, yet at night, he went out and did that. No longer. He's now a felon, charged with a felony, and he's fired from the Department of Justice. If you touch a law enforcement officer, if you spit on a law enforcement officer, if you batter a law enforcement officer, we are coming after you. No longer will you abuse the great men and women of law enforcement. We're going to stand by you, we're going to stand with you, and we're going to protect you.
You know, I know you can't talk about very specific legal action that may be underway or a grand jury that may be impaneled, but we are reading that, in fact, a lot of the information that Tulsi Gabbard has been able to share with the public and make public, and the same with John Ratcliffe, that, in fact, there are people that purposely, my interpretation of it, seemingly trying to sabotage. I'll give you one example, the Russia hoax. We had a career senior intelligence assessment of the 2016 election. Then there was an order to go out and get another one because they didn't like the result of the first one. We know that the Hillary Clinton bought and paid for Russian disinformation dossier was used for not one but 4 FISA warrants, and yet they knew very early on that it was debunked and not true. If you lie to a FISA court, as a matter of law, don't you have an obligation to go back and tell the court as soon as you know that information you provided that court was inaccurate and not true?
Yeah, Sean, I can't confirm or deny whether we have a grand jury, an open investigation on anyone, but the weaponization of our government has ended. And Tulsi Gabbard, John Ratcliffe, Kash Patel, they're doing a great job. And no one in this country is above the law.
Yeah. All right, Attorney General Pam Bondi, we appreciate your time, as always. Thank you.
The numbers are breathtaking. Since President Trump asserted federal control over our nation's capital in Washington, D.C., we have seen a record number of violent offenders, bad guys, gang members, and all kinds of threats to public safety removed off the street, as well as their illegal weapons that they've been using to terrorize the citizens of this city. Additionally, we have seen over 70 homeless encampments that have scarred and disfigured the public streets of this city, dismantled and thrown away, and the homeless cleared from those encampments. At the same time, we have the National Park Service going around and getting rid of the gang graffiti that has been left untouched by this city for decades. Since I've lived here, I moved to Washington, D.C. 20 years ago, and I've seen graffiti in some of our landmarks that has gone unremoved for decades that is now being cleared away. You have gang members that are being taken off the streets. You have druggies that are being taken off the streets. You have our parks being made safe again, our transit being made safe again. Last night, I had the honor and privilege of being at roll call for all of the federal and state officers that are going out in these task force. They are thrilled to be here. They are thrilled at the local level and at the federal level to be able to have this assignment on behalf of President Trump to make our nation's capital safe and clean again. It really is liberation for Washington, D.C., Griff.
And Stephen, I think what's really fascinating to me as someone that covers a lot of sanctuary city issues across the country, so many of them that are resisting, like LA, like Chicago, like New York, like Boston, but yet here, just in the last 24 hours, it appears that the local leaders here, the mayor and Attorney General Bondi, are going to make D.C. no longer a sanctuary city for violent, illegal criminals. Talk to me about that.
Yes, correct. We have ICE officers that are embedded with local police, making sure that violent, criminally illegal aliens are for once taken off the street so they can't hurt anyone anymore. Too many times we have seen stories of criminally illegal aliens, you've covered it so much, Griff, who they get caught and released, until one day they shoot someone in the head, or they rape an innocent girl, or they commit some heinous crime. So here in Washington now, we're finding these criminally illegal aliens, and at the first opportunity, we're picking them up and we're sending them out of the country. You know, the sigh of relief that I have seen from the local communities in this city. You see people going online saying, for the first time that I can remember, I don't hear gunshots ringing out at night anymore. I just saw a video posted by a gentleman who walked from his neighborhood in the southeast all the way to the White House, and he said in the whole way through, he saw no gang members, no violence, no homeless camps, no public drug use. He said it was like living in a different city. President Trump is making D.C. safe, livable, clean, and secure, not just for the people who live here, but for every American citizen whose birthright is to visit our nation's capital, Griff.
And yet we hear President Trump saying that this may be a blueprint for other cities like Los Angeles, like, Chicago. But yet this week, when ICE went out after an actual targeted group of criminal aliens outside of Governor Newsom's event, you saw incredible backlash from Governor Newsom, but also from LA's mayor, Karen Bass. I want to play a little bit of that for you and get your reaction.
And they decided they were going to come and thumb their nose in front of the governor's face. Why would you do that? That is unbelievably disrespectful. It's a provocative act. They're talking about disorder in Los Angeles, and they are the source of the disorder in Los Angeles right now. Why is this helpful to anybody at all? At this point, this doesn't have anything to do with immigration at all.
Mayor,
this is about causing trouble in our city.
What do you say, Stephen?
The mayor of Los Angeles and the governor of California are in the largest sanctuary city and the largest sanctuary state in America. They refuse to turn over tens of thousands of serial criminally illegal aliens to ICE. So they get arrested by state or local authorities and they get cut loose. They then go on to commit crimes like assault, armed robbery, home invasion, and murder. The most unimaginable, egregious crimes you could think of. All of that blood, all of that suffering, all of that heartache, squarely on the soul and conscience of California's governor and the mayor of Los Angeles. They are guilty of crimes against humanity. They are facilitating child trafficking, sex trafficking. Look, they think this is a game. They think this is a joke. This is life and death. When you meet with the families, as you have, Griff, whose loved ones have been raped and killed and slaughtered by criminally illegal aliens who have no right to be in this country, what Newsom are doing and what Bass is doing are unforgivable. And God bless our ICE agents and Border Patrol agents for going out there and doing this mission on behalf and on the orders of President Trump to make America safe for our citizens. The Democrat Party seems to only care about two groups right now: criminals and illegal aliens. And that's it. Donald Trump's Republican Party is fighting for law-abiding American citizens, and you're seeing the results right here in Washington, D.C., where the most violent city that we have in this country is now becoming, day by day, and will become one of the safest cities in the whole country.
Well, as a resident, and speaking to a lot of residents, many of them crime victims I spoke to this week, it is welcomed news to bring in those federal resources to support local law enforcement. Stephen, before I go, I've got to, just in the last minute here, I do, as the Deputy Chief of Staff, want to get your reaction. Got a big meeting coming. President Zelensky on Monday to the White House there on the heels of the historic summit yesterday in Alaska. Can you preview that for us and tell us what we might expect to see?
Well, President Trump has worked tirelessly to resolve the war that started under Joe Biden, that everyone agrees would never have happened if President Trump had been in office, because there was no new wars under President Trump. The world was at peace, is going to be at peace again. So he met with Vladimir Putin yesterday. He had an incredibly productive meeting. At the end of the day, it requires Putin and Zelensky to agree with each other on terms of a peace deal. And the president's been clear, that's what he wants, just a comprehensive peace deal. What's his interest in this? What's America's interest? To stop the killing, stop the bloodshed, stop the slaughter, restore peace and stability. So he's going to meet with Zelensky. He's going to see if he can again find that opportunity, that pathway for a comprehensive peace deal, working as well with our European partners in the hopes that we can forge peace. President Biden was responsible for this war starting. Donald Trump is fighting to end it. And as you know, he has already ended 7 wars around the globe. Multiple foreign leaders, we've heard most recently Azerbaijan, has said that this man, this president, needs to be given a Nobel Peace Prize. I have never in my life, not even my life, I've never in modern history seen an American president work so hard and so fast and so completely to make the world a more safe and peaceful place. From here in Washington, D.C. to the furthest reaches of the globe, this is the peace and security president, Griff.
Well, just in the last 20 seconds I've got, were you as surprised as many of us to hear former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton actually say on camera that should this peace agreement be reached between Zelensky and Putin, that President Trump deserves a Nobel Peace Prize? She said she'd nominate him for it.
Well, it was a noteworthy statement. I guess all I can say to that is that the whole world is praying for peace in this region, in Europe, and all sensible people, all people who love humanity and love peace, are grateful to President Trump for fighting and trying and working so hard to end this conflict that we inherited from the previous administration.
Muy pronto, vuelve a escuchar las noticias más relevantes en este canal de noticias.